This image is often referred to as the March of Progress. It depicts human evolution as a single, stagnant line from apes to modern humans. It is also wrong, as I'm sure that many of you are already aware. This version is one that you're probably more familiar with, the Great Grand Tree of Life. Modern humans, the one singular remaining branch. Yes, we had ancestors and cousins, and even cousins of cousins, but they're all gone now. Lost to the annals of history, leaving us, and only us, Homo sapien, as the remaining crown jewel of our lineage. Well, what if I told you that we aren't? The crown jewel, that is, not that we have a secret cousin that's still around and kicking. Everyone else is very, very dead, no matter what your Uncle Jeff says. Homo neanderthalis, otherwise referred to colloquially as Neanderthals, were our short, stocky, brow-ridged cousins. The word itself is often used synonymously with the concept of a caveman. Human, but only just. Primitive and dumb, without a capacity for true understanding. Still hunting with sticks and making loud, grunting noises rather than actual human speech. Actual Neanderthals, though, were anything but. And yes, I know I'm calling them Neanderthals and not Neanderthals, but it's actually more of a matter of preference rather than a this is right and that is wrong kind of thing. But because we're talking about Neanderthals in a new light, it just makes sense to use the newer pronunciation. I'm getting off topic. Point is, Neanderthals were very different from our mental picture. While they were short, at least compared to our modern human averages, they had an even larger brain case than we do and were likely just as smart as we are. We know that they had a pretty wide grasp of technology, from simple stone tools all the way to medicinal pastes, boats, and even the ability to weave. We're also reasonably sure they were capable of complex symbolic thought. Some of our oldest cave paintings that we've ever found have been attributed to them, as well as speech. Neanderthals also give us what I would refer to as our first evidence of a human society, Shanidar 1, a Neanderthal from 45,000 years ago found in Shanidar, Iraq. Nandy, as he has been nicknamed, has evidence of sustaining heavy injuries at a young age, including possible paralysis and withered right arm, damaged left eye, and even evidence of brain damage. The thing is that Nandy didn't die from these injuries, and they actually show evidence of healing, meaning that he would have had to have been cared for by his social group. It is some of the first evidence of human compassion and the ability to rely on one another. Now, some of you may be wondering, if Neanderthals were so great, how come they aren't around anymore? And to that I say, are you sure they aren't? Most of our modern human DNA is Homo sapien, true, but some of it is Neanderthal. Looks like Uncle Jeff was a little bit right after all. See, back in the day, and by the day I mean somewhere between 230,000 years ago to 100,000 years ago, Homo sapiens and Neanderthals crossed paths. Homo sapiens began their existence in what is now Ethiopia, somewhere around here, and slowly, over the course of several hundreds of thousands of years, began to make their way up and out of Africa. Or, well, some of them did. Of course, some of us decided that we liked it there enough to remain there to this day, but that's a whole other video. Regardless of which particular path the humans chose, they would have encountered Neanderthals at some point in their journey. Neanderthals actually don't come from Africa, but from Europe, with our oldest evidence of them being all the way over here, in Spain. When we finally met, though, something beautiful happened. There's many theories as to what exactly happened to Neanderthals, why they aren't around anymore, from some kind of mass extinction to being outcompeted for resources by us to being entirely absorbed into our population. Regardless of which of these is correct, likely a combination of factors, what we do know is that there is a significant amount of our modern human DNA that can be traced back to Neanderthals, meaning that at some point, more than a couple of us decided that we liked what we saw. This interbreeding of the two of us still results in some genes that we can see today, from the more obviously Neanderthal characteristics like more pronounced brow ridges or shorter statures, to the less, like red hair and colorblindness. Neanderthals are just one more recent stepping stone in the large, long story that leads to modern humans, but it's one that I hope you'll look at with a bit more respect than you used to. Neanderthals might not have been humans, but they were still human in all the ways that we think of for it to matter, and enough for us to decide to make them a part of the family. And that, dear viewer, is something that I think is worth thinking about, especially as we get further and further into an age where the line between human and not is becoming thinner with each and every day. What makes a human if it isn't DNA?